So Joe talked about true north, right? Does anybody know 3 types of north? That's your homework. Know that by, when are you guys done? Sunday?
Sunday afternoon.
Know it by Sunday. There's 3 different types of north. And know the difference and relate it to your life and your scenario in this weekend, okay? I'll catch up with you.
We have awards, by the way. If you don't have that answer, there's no award.
There are awards, yeah, I brought them over personally.
They're awesome.
So I like to, Joe talks about true north, which to me is an ongoing. That's like your final destination almost. I like to talk about finish lines. If anybody's done a race, you know when you cross the finish line, you break tape, right? There's that stream that goes across, you break it, and then you go on to the next one, right? For your next race, and you keep breaking these tapes, you keep finishing, hitting that finish line. So the finish line to me is a short-term goal. What is your short-term goal, right? Everybody was giving long-term goals. They want happiness. They want to be a good father. All these long-terms. But think about what's your short-term, okay? So your finish line for this weekend should probably be what? What do you think? Anybody? What do you think your finish line is for this weekend?
This weekend,
What's your name?
Ray,
Ray?
become a better wrestler.
Okay.
There we go.
Who else?
Be the hardest worker here.
Okay, so see how that translates from I want happiness or I want to be a professional massage or Navy SEAL to I want to be the best wrestler. I want to win an award. I want to become stronger, right? When I saw you guys today, you were carrying logs up and down the hill. And Joe said that's easy. That's true. That is an easy, short little, 20-minute workout. You'll probably be doing that every day for hours all weekend. That's pretty much what I do every other day. Okay? I briefly, my true north, my finish line, say finish line, I moved from South Carolina. I packed up everything in my car, and I moved here to be the best death racer. Has anybody heard of that race? Okay. So death race is an unknown distance, unknown event. You don't know when you begin or finish officially, and you do whatever you're told to do, otherwise you're out of the race. Okay, so there was a series last year, and I wanted to win that series. That was all that was on my mind. Everywhere I looked, I saw number 1, death race number 1, and nothing was getting in my way. That's all I wanted. I fully committed. I came here, didn't care what happened to me, would work as hard as I could for anybody that asked me to do anything that needed to be done. Didn't matter. Because I was going to win that race, and I knew if I had to pick up trash on the side of the road for hours on end, guess what? I'm going to do squats and pick up trash, hold it over my head, and dump it in a bag. And once that bag gets heavy, that bag is going to just come with me. I don't care if it's 100 pounds, 200 pounds. It's going to come with me all day long for as many days as possible. And there was no question in anything that was told to me to do. And guess what happened? You won. Exactly. There's 3 races I did, and one of them I won, and the other I came in second. And it was a point series, so I accumulated the least amount of points.
I'll tell you why he came in second. He was 6 hours ahead of the guy in second place. It's a funny story. And they were running up and down a mountain, which was about 12 times as long as what you guys ran up today, and much steeper. You'll do the mountain I'm talking about. And I think they had to go up and down it 10 times. He's 6 hours ahead. Every time they got to the bottom, they had to start a fire from scratch. A couple of sticks, figured out. Well, the guy that was in second place figured out that when he finished up with his fire, he was going to put it in tinfoil. So when he came back down, started his fire right back up. Mark didn't realize he was gaining 20 minutes on him each time because Mark had to start his fire from scratch. And it was legal. I think you lost by a minute or 2. Right? We lost the race by, he was 6 hours ahead.
So that right there, that race was the beginning of, we talked about situational awareness. I think you worded it differently, like tying your shoelaces, right, Zach? Like tying your shoelaces, being ready 100%. Situational awareness to your surroundings and all that. Well, I lacked that after 20 hours into a race. I didn't realize what was going on. I was so focused on where I was, I'm going to win this race, that complacency kicked in. You guys know what complacency is? It's where you are just so, I'm going to win this race. You ever see like a video where a guy's like, yeah, or recently there was a guy like jumped before the end zone and fumbled like a yard before the touchdown, stuff like that. It's complacency. You're so sure, you're so that you're gonna win this race. You're gonna be number one. That somebody sneaks in and takes it from you. That's exactly what happened. And I was so pissed off. Like that was my race.
You weren't fighting for milk.
I came here. I was working hard, and I didn't know this guy, and he worked harder that day. So the next race, it was Mexico, and I knew as soon as that race ended, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I'm going to win the next race. So long story short, here I am. That was my finish line. That series was over. Now I have other true norths and finish lines. But for you guys, it's important that you make the most out of this weekend. Make this your finish line to be the best one out here and work your butts off and do everything you're told to do 110% the entire time. Joe's going to work you, guaranteed. He'll outbeat every one of you up and down this mountain. You'll be up. Zach's going to kill you. Jared's going to kill you. But they're doing it because they want you to be the best, because that's what you came here for, right?
Right.
That's what you should have came here for. You got your true norths you spoke about, but your finish line is to be the best.
Yeah, otherwise you're not just wasting your time, you're wasting our time. Right? Zach left his family. Mark left his cold cabin. I left my family. Jared doesn't have a family yet. So he has a wife now, he's married. It's a waste of time if you guys aren't committed. So the Navy SEALs should be swimming, by the way.
And we can do that tonight if you
We're
want.
gonna do
In
that.
that pond you guys are talking about, right by his house.
All right.
We got a pond that is colder than.
Don't say something you're gonna regret unless you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna have to do it sooner or later.
You're gonna have to do it sooner or later.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Come up anytime. I'll be here.
What,
I love cold water.
do you guys have questions for Mark? I think there's so much, I do a lot of seminars for coaches, and I'm always shocked that coaches don't have questions, but I think you should be asking, you know, somebody like Mark, like, were you always this tough? Like, how do you develop mental toughness? Because some of you guys were really at a higher level as far as pushing through the training earlier. Some of you caught a second wind, like you realized, you started doing it, you're like, I could do this. And you realize your mind was kind of beating you up. Who's got a question for Mark about, you know, this guy, you know, trains, he'll do races that are several days, you don't know when they end. I mean, that's like you wrestling a match or being in practice, but you don't know when it's going to end, and it's at night, and you're not being fed. Some of you guys were freaking out at 3 o'clock. You're like, I got to eat something. And, you know, it's okay to be hungry and it's okay that you didn't have that meal. Who's got a question for Mark? You should always have questions. That's...
How do you develop mental toughness? Like, what would you say the best way is?
So, yeah, so Zach said, how did I become so tough? I don't like to ever say I'm tough. I don't like to put that out there. I feel like I'm a pretty quiet guy, reserved, and I think that's part of it, you know, just taking a look around you, always watching people, what they're doing. You remember, use your brain a lot. I always say I like smart athletes. And Joe was talking about this guy that beat me after the 6-hour lead. Well, yeah, I was upset, but I also respected him because he was smarter than me. And I think it's admirable to look at those individuals who are better than you and ask them, what do you do, right? And you develop a plan of action for yourself. So whether it's you want to be a Navy SEAL, start talking to some Navy SEALs, see what they've done before training, what they're doing now for training, and then you get into adventure racers and other wrestlers, and you consolidate all that knowledge, and you develop a plan of action for yourself. The biggest thing is find out what you lack in. If you lack upper body strength and you can't hold something over your head more, then do that. Work on your weaknesses, not your strengths. That's how you develop the mental toughness. Just sitting in cold water. If you can maintain a smile for 10 minutes in cold water, fully submerged, there you go. Just develop that toughness and whatever, basically putting yourself in the suck.
Yeah, you gotta get uncomfortable. How many people have done a marathon here? Anybody? You guys gotta do a marathon. You gotta have your mom or somebody drop you off 26 miles from your house, and you gotta walk home. It's gonna be terrible, but my 7-year-old did one. My 9-year-old did one. So you can definitely do one. And you asked how you get tough. That's how you get tough, right? You move the finish line so far away from what you're comfortable doing that the next time you're wrestling for 5 minutes, you'll say, at least I'm not doing a marathon.
Here's a better question, well, maybe not a better question, but another question is, why haven't you done a marathon by now? 5K? Anybody? Okay, there we go. 10K. Half marathon. Alright, 1. So you guys, it seems like you're building up though, but maybe you haven't hit the full yet because there's the fear. Well, that's your level of being uncomfortable.
You don't have to do an official marathon. Literally, just go out for 5 hours. Go run for 5 hours. Right?
I got a question for Mark, and hopefully you guys pick up on this. When I think about training, I don't think about just the physical that we do. I think of it myself, and I tell others that it's who you hang out with, it's the TV you watch or don't watch, it's the books you read or don't read. What do you do, quote unquote, training outside of the physical, the logs and all that, like books that you read, how does kind of like your day look that develops your character and makes you better? What are things outside of like the, what we would consider normal training, right?
Right.
What do you do that you think contributes?
Every day I start with brain games.
Like what's that?
Just memorization. So it's in the military. It's called Kim's game.
Mm-hmm.
It's keep in memory. So look at surroundings, know your surroundings all the time, and then see the little differences of each. It's basically a mental puzzle, and you put those pieces together every single day. So I know when I do a mile radius of my work zone, of Trailside, Riverside, Amy Farm, the Lodge, I know exactly what's been moved. So I go into work and I'm like, well, that was moved today. Who has that? That's shifted. That needs to be done. You just do this on a daily basis and it becomes natural. But then there's other games, whether it's on the computer, like puzzles and memorization, stuff like that. And just initially you stimulate your brain in the morning. And that's part of the mental toughness. And then I'll do the physical, and then I go back to mental. And then there's also the grinds, I call them, where you go out for a day or two and just sleep deprivation, hunger deprivation,